If you can't beat them, then you pop them. You can't man them, then you mop them. You can't stand them, then you drop them. You pop them, cause we pop them like over red and vodka. Young money, C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
Welcome back to 21 Rates Live. Wes, hope you like that intro. It's something new Jody and I have been cooking up here. For those that are chiming in right now, I know we started and people are going to come in slowly here, but super excited to have you on show, Wes. Wes, for those that don't know, is the former CEO of Cointelegraph. Made a big transition into hard wallets, and one of the coolest, and he showed me in person too, one of the coolest wallets I've ever seen to help prevent against wrench attacks. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but Wes, first and foremost, welcome to the show.
Hey, Avi. Hey, Jody. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be here and excited to talk about all things biometrics and custody today.
So yeah, we will definitely get into that. I definitely want to start with Bitcoin dropping, under 100K. Yeah. So we'll start with some macro stuff. But Jody, before we even do that, for those listening now, we do have something a little exciting that's going to be new for 21 Rates Live here.
Yeah, we're excited. We have a 21,000 sat giveaway sponsored by our friends GNOT here. And what we're doing is we'll be dropping a code word probably halfway through the stream. You guys, we'll give you the link to it. It's 21rates.com/stack. Log in. You're going to be able to just drop your code there. And then we're going to select a winner and put in your Lightning address. We'll send you some sats. Best way to get started with Bitcoin, especially with it 103, 104 today. Now's the time to buy.
Yep. So it did pop up a little bit, but Wes, let's talk a little macro. I know you've been in the space for quite some time. What happened there? I mean, everyone's kind of looking at their portfolios right now, a little depressed, and I'm kind of laughing in the back of my head. It's like prices we haven't seen, since a month or two ago, and so it's quite interesting what is happening. What do you think was the cause of some of this? I wouldn't call it a collapse, but downturn the past few days.
Absolutely. So I think what we saw was mass capitulation across the board. As you saw, we went from healthy levels of Bitcoin all the way down to below 100,000, which definitely spooked some fears. A lot of people say it was kind of flushing out the week, if you will. But my opinion is that we saw a lot of mass liquidations. We saw a lot of leverage and margin calls, right? And what happens is this cascades and it compounds. And so it actually brings up the point of treasury companies too, and what happens there when you see big capitulation and big downward movement, and how they have to rebalance for their shareholders. So I think yesterday was a healthy flush out. I'm still bullish on the market. And I think that some of the altcoins held up relatively well relative to Bitcoin. Some didn't, but if you look at those top 10s, I think that probably Solana unfortunately got hit the hardest, but it's had a healthy recovery and it's seen some good price action over the last 12 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. How much of this do you think is, the introduction of all these AI stocks just flying, right? Do you think there's some yield chasing here where OGs Bitcoiners, they're like, hey, I have 20,000 Bitcoin. I can drop, 5,000, 10,000 Bitcoin, chase the yield for a while and then come back? Or do you think that has nothing to do with it?
So I think AI was definitely a theme in yesterday's downturn. I don't know if it's relatively the AI coins, but if you look at somebody like Michael Burry, right, who from The Big Short, and he did shorts against I believe it was Palantir and another AI company. And there was talk of a little bit of a bubble bursting in the sense of, is AI overinflated relative to other asset classes in terms of PE ratios and whatnot. And so I think that there was a correlation between the capital markets yesterday and the crypto markets yesterday. And one of those themes that we were seeing was AI fear in terms of, is it too much hype? And I think we saw that translate over into crypto as well.
Yeah, I mean, we got some Big global news, I think here, we're both in New York. Mom Donnie won last night, and we saw kind of this blue wave actually across, the country. In Virginia, I know the governor turned blue, and we're seeing some of that. Positives, China tariffs are lifting momentarily for a bit. So I saw some of the farms specifically, tariffs are going to come off. So hopefully that's some positive momentum here. What do you think some of the catalysts, or you look like you have a comment on some of the tariff stuff?
Yeah, I think also Jay Powell, right? Like Jay Powell came out and he didn't give definitive guidance on what the rest of the end of the year looks like. And that concerns people. People want to, I mean, we go to him for guidance, right? He's running our monetary system. And so are we going to have a rate cut? Are we going to keep things flat? I think that played in. And then, there's geopolitical instability as it relates to tariffs and trade deals. You have, unfortunately, military action occurring across the world. And, that has turned actually into a lot of flight into safe haven assets such as ours in crypto, gold, precious metals. I think gold's having a historic year. But I think one of the major catalysts is looking at the Fed's guidance and or their lack of, and what's coming and how that affects rates, the bond markets, and the overall capital markets at large.
Yeah, Jay Powell has become one of the most, if not the most powerful man in the world. We'll have to have a celebrity death match between him and Satoshi at some point. But Wes, I want to get into your personal life, right? You were the CEO of Cointelegraph, one of the biggest publications, in crypto for sure. You've now transitioned over to be the CEO of GNOT. We've met, we live in the same New York area here. And I was fascinated. I was blown away at what you guys are building over at GNOT. So what was that transition like, coming from media, being in our seat or leading the charge of a big media company? And what was so exciting about GNOT that you're like, okay, this is something that I need to jump on, and there's a lot of opportunity here?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one I get frequently. I very much enjoyed my time at Cointelegraph, but I like to work at companies that are solving real tough, real world problems that provide benefits for the industry. In a previous life of mine, I was working at Trade Markets where we were digitizing gold with real world assets, and that was real utility and use case. And so when I heard about GNOT, I was like, this is interesting. Tell me more. You guys have a partnership with the UN. You're using advanced biometrics. You're trying to solve renter tax. And the more I dove into it, and I sat down with our chairman, Juan Lee, and Peter, who leads partnerships and BD for us, and I was mind blown. And so I did hours and hours of research. And frankly, it was an opportunity that was way too good to pass up, in the sense of it's time to get back to work and roll our sleeves up and be in the trenches and really solve something that the industry needs, and that's secure custody. And so it was a no-brainer for me. It was no brainer at all.
Yeah, and seeing the technology, I don't know how much you can go into it, because I know you guys are doing like a pre-release soon, or pre-order soon, but it's beyond just like the biometrics, right? You were showing me that it's like actually tracking, and I'm going to misquote you, but it's actually like tracking the pulse or like your blood flow. So it's very, very interpersonal. You can't just like, make a copy of someone's finger scan. I don't know if we'll be able to see much of it here on the camera, but talk to some of the details, because it was fascinating to me. I was like, holy shit, this is well beyond just a Bitcoin or a crypto wallet. This could be used, as you mentioned, with partnerships, with the UN and different security to make sure that it's actually the person. You can't, again, just copy their fingerprint. So if you could dive into some of those details, it is truly fascinating to me.
Yeah, sure. And let me tell you a little bit about GNOT and kind of what we do and the products that we create for the industry. So what we're creating is the world's first finger vein secured crypto wallet that makes hacking virtually impossible. This is built on the same trusted UN technology that we use with our fingerprint smart ID cards. And really what we're trying to do is redefine digital security, right? And so what exactly are we doing? We created a wallet. It's a cold wallet that uses your finger vein. Just, you put your finger like a fingerprint, and it uses your finger vein, and it uses a subdermal camera to read the rhythm, the patterns, and your vascular identity. And we can show you in a minute what that looks like. But basically, everybody's it's one of the most unique biometrics out there. It requires live blood flow, and basically what it's doing is it's taking a digital picture within one of your 10 fingers, right? And within that, it's looking at your vascular patterns, your rhythms, and it's using something that we like to call our P2N2 AI locally hosted chip to validate you are who you say you are. At that point, you quickly type in, a PIN for, 2FA authentication, and then your wallet opens. And it's as simple as that. And this is just the first of many products we plan to offer, because at the end of the day, we view what we're doing at GNOT as a suite of products in an ecosystem. And we have a lot of really cool things coming out.
Yeah. And the title of this is, eliminating wrench attacks. So
Yeah.
how, if Jody came in, he knows where I'm at, he comes in with a big wrench, tries to take my seed phrase or tries to take my Bitcoin away from me. What is like preventing that using the pulse? Like, why does it like track if my heart beats faster and I'm nervous, or, even then, is there multi-sig at all?
Yes. So the way that we plan to prevent wrench attacks is biometric multi-sig. Right now, the functionality is, I would say, 99% done. We plan to have it ready for release. But the idea is that you want to eliminate single points of failure. So if, for example, in the Soho case, if it took 2 people to sign in via biometrics, you wouldn't have a single point of failure, right? And that doesn't mean that 2 people have to be in the same place, but 2 people have to have their authentication done. And so it's really as simple as that. But what we're doing has never been done before. And it's not like you could plug this into a computer and hack this. This is, we like to say, biometrically engineered right, or spoof proof. And that's how we design the product.
I just want to take a quick moment, and then Jody, I'll let you go. But for those that are just joining, we are doing something new here today. 21,000 sat giveaway. Keep your ear out for the code word. Jody, can you just explain it one more time? Because we only had like 20 people in when we first talked through it, and now we got quite a bit more.
Yeah. So soon we'll be launching the 21,000 sat giveaway. We'll drop it on the banner below. It's going to be 21race.com/stack. And then all you do, go to the page, enter in the code, and then enter in your Lightning address. And we'll be using Bitcoin to pay you out immediately. So one winner selected today. It's 21,000 sats. And just be listening out. We'll probably fire it up around like halfway through the show.
Yeah. So Wes, what else has been, how's that transition? I know you're just like in Korea, I believe, right? Was it Korea Blockchain Week?
Yeah.
What was going on there? Like, what were you guys doing out there?
Absolutely. So we were meeting with a bunch of our investors. I filmed about 4 different podcasts, and I got to test the product. That is when I picked up the prototype, and it was a phenomenal time. It's really important for us to be fully integrated with our community, make the time and effort to provide face time with them, speak on I believe I did 2 panels as well, and really give some thought leadership as to where we are, where we're going, and what we see in the current landscape of the market. So Seoul was extremely productive. We actually have a team of roughly 40 people based out of Seoul, and we were actually spun out of a sister company called eTunnel. And eTunnel is a leader in the biometric space. And this product that I'm holding up, this took over a decade of research and work with companies like with organizations like the International Standards Organization. And so whenever I'm in Seoul, it's special because I get to spend some time with our research and development teams, our technology teams, and get a little bit behind the scenes, find out what our latest new patent is or our KISA certifications, get updates. It's almost like entering, if you watch James Bond, like entering one of his facilities. Everybody there has a smart ID key card, the same one used at the UN, and it's like access granted, access denied. And so it's awesome to see the utility of our products used in real life, to meet with colleagues, to meet with investors, and to speak to the community directly. And I think we accomplished all those goals throughout the trip.
Oh, Jody, I thought you had a question there. Jody, go ahead if you had one.
You're on mute.
You're on mute. We're doing this live, folks. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other, I guess, as Jody figures that out, what other like catalysts do you see coming? I know you said JPOW is obviously, a massive indicator of where we're going, rate cuts being the biggest focus, I think, on any market, right? Everyone's kind of looking for that. If Powell is remaining dovish, what do you think happens to all these $150,000, $200,000 predictions by the end of the year? Are you seeing, I don't want to put you on a record here, but like, do you see us getting to 150, 200,000, or is that going to be 2026, 2027?
I think that's 2026. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. No pun intended there. But I think that there's a lot of factors right now playing into the price. I think the first thing is liquidity, and that comes in many different forms. But one way is the retail investor flushed out of cash, right? Have we all been dollar cost averaging every day or investing? And is there more buyers than sellers? And clearly yesterday we saw there was more sellers than buyers, right? And so I think that's a factor. I think geopolitical instability and how things pan out as it relates to things like the war in Ukraine, Taiwan, Venezuela, and all of that, how that plays out, I do believe is a factor. Tariffs, what's going to happen there? And then also the growth of the capital markets and the correlation. I think that you have to look at both. There's been a tighter correlation over the last year or so than there ever was. It used to almost be inversely correlated. And now we're seeing that the correlation is getting closer to a 1 rather than, closer to a 0. So there's a lot to keep our eye on. And then I think the biggest thing that I think about a lot is these treasury companies and the fiduciary responsibilities they have to their shareholders, as well as the contagion risk if things go poorly. I believe that there's possibility for compounding effects. And so that's what I'm watching right now. I also think that there's a lot of leverage, which I believe a lot of it was flushed out. But in terms of the health of the market, we need to make sure that there's not an abundance of leverage or too much.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I see things from, my standpoint from a macro and somewhat micro lens.
Yeah, we talk to quite a few we have treasury talks every Thursday, right? So we bring on a CEO or a founder of these treasury companies, and you scroll back 6 months ago, it looked like a no-brainer. It's like, wait a second, this is SPAC season 2.0, but they don't really need employees. They don't really need anything. Bitcoin is the employee. Bitcoin's, as long as you believe in Bitcoin, that company should be good. And it was funny. I noticed this inverse correlation, what we're seeing today, where the operational treasury companies like Semler, Scientific, and some of the other ones that were out there were kind of laggards, to be honest, when we first started. Now we're seeing this trend where it is the operational companies that, hey, we are producing revenue during some of the downturns that act as, it acts almost like a hedge, in many ways against Bitcoin. And it's a full, engine behind it where it can continue to buy more Bitcoin on its own. It doesn't always need to go to the ATM, to give away shares basically to acquire more money to buy more Bitcoin. We're seeing strategy. I'm a victim of it as well. I haven't sold a share personally. Not financial advice here, but it's been hard to watch your portfolio start to dwindle. I obviously believe in Bitcoin long term. I will not be selling my strategy, but you're seeing some of the other players out there. I just saw Sequins today had to sell. I think it was. I should probably check before I quote how many Bitcoin, but they had to sell off. Yeah, they had to sell off some Bitcoin, and that to me is ringing all the alarm bells. To say, hey, if you're a Bitcoin treasury company and you need to sell your Bitcoin, that shows that the fragility, I'd say, of these types of companies during downturns. And we haven't even seen like a massive downturn, and still we're starting to see some of these sell off. So what are your thoughts? I mean, is it going to be a winner take all? You see strategy making this, they just did, I think it's STRE over in Europe, right? They're having all these different financial products that are I found fascinating, right? You're able to pull in huge amounts of money. It's in my opinion, a much better money market account in many ways, where you're getting, close to 10% on some of these. Do you think some of the other ones will survive, a potential downturn if Bitcoin goes to 80K, let's say?
I think the top threshold of these treasury companies the strategies of the world, are going to be fine. It's the other, I think there's 500 treasury companies out there. And I don't know which ones are the bottom 100 of those 500, but that's what I worry about. Because think about it. If you're investing $100 million in Bitcoin and it goes, and you invest it, let's call it 100,000, and it goes down to 90,000, and you're holding all this, you're holding a store of value, right? You either have to dollar cost average and buy the dip, or you have to hold or sell, right? But if you don't, the value of your company is going down, and eventually you're going to hit thresholds where you're going to have margin calls, or you need to meet shareholder demand. And so I think that the larger treasury companies are going to continue to grow and have plenty of capital to deploy, and are able to offer different types of structured investments. And this is not financial advice, but like preferred notes, convertible notes, things of that nature. And so I think the top treasury companies are going to be fine. But where I worry about the contagion risk is the less capitalized treasury companies that are all in, if you could say it like that. Just gonna fix my camera quick.
Yeah, you're good. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or yours there, but yeah, I mean, I think one thing to consider when it comes to these treasury companies is you look at the strategies of the world. And for those listening that are unfamiliar, definitely worth exploring, because what they're building is a lot of these money markets where they're pulling in from, different debt. They're getting into credit as well, right? And Saylor's mentioned initially he's not going to become a bank. I think just knowing the stock market, investors are going to look for continued advancement, right? They're going to look for how are they going to continue to grow month over month, quarter after quarter. And to me, if they're sitting on this, digital gold pile right now, I think that's going to be huge for them to be able to lend that out as Bitcoin becomes more ubiquitous. And we see other corporations starting to buy it. Let's say, if they hit the S&P 500 ever, I think that sends a huge ripple effect to any other company that was considering it, where they're saying, hey, if we were able to make the S&P 500 with Bitcoin, it kind of gives some market validation, I'd say, to, I don't know if we'll see like an Amazon or a Google go public with that. But, let's say Tesla, they have some Bitcoin. What if they start to buy some, more? And maybe they are waiting for a bigger dip here, but those along with nation states, like it's becoming a lot more real. This is kind of the first major dip where it's like 100 was that threshold for a lot of people. If it goes below 100, it's going to send some fear throughout the market. I don't know if I just you guys lost me there. My camera's messing up here.
Just visuals, but
okay.
Yeah, I totally. You there?
Yeah, there we go.
I think that
already.
Yeah, Mom Donnie's coming out. We'll keep you safe, Wes. We won't talk politics on this episode.
I appreciate it. I'm all business here at GNOT.
Yeah. No, but I mean, so what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you think that you mentioned that some of the smaller players are going to slowly dissipate. I guess, do you see a world in which Tesla or some of these other bigger players eventually come over and start, buying up Bitcoin with their treasuries, or do you think we're still several years away from that? Or
I think they already are doing it. I think that a lot of institutions, pension funds across the board. I mean, if you look at crypto as an asset class, or if you just look at the blue chip cryptos, they've outperformed most, except for like companies like Palantir. Although Bitcoin, we'll get into that later. But yeah, I think that institutions are totally going to be investing parts of their treasuries or cash flow into digital assets. The difference between that and treasury companies are that is not their business model. That is just a diversification play and an investment rather than that being everything that you do. And so for them, the risk is lower because they could buy, they could sell. Their duty is to their shareholders. But it doesn't materially, like if Tesla sold their Bitcoin tomorrow, I think that they would be A-okay. If a treasury company does it, they could be operating at a loss, hopefully not, or a gain. But it is their business, and that is their valuation and their market cap.
One macro question that I won't dig into who you voted for, anything too deep on politics, but we did see kind of this mini blue wave, if you will. Republicans were very pro Bitcoin, very pro crypto, during this campaign. Do you think we're too far? And we've hit that inflection point where Democrats are going to say, hey, this is bipartisan. This is the new financial system. This is not a political left or right leaning, ideology here. If, Democrats do take more power, throughout the midterms and potentially in the next presidential election, does that put a halt on Bitcoin, or you think we're too far now at this point?
I think it's too hard to tell at this point because it depends who's coming into office on behalf of them. And I think that right now, what we need to see is what the regulations and clarity and things that, like, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase is in DC talking to senators and working on. We need to see the results of that and then be able to interpret that and formulate an opinion. And I think that the regulation, how it's going to be set up and what happens during this administration is going to frankly be, it's going to be leveraged and analyzed and impact the policy for the next administration. And so I'm no political expert, but that's just my 2 cents on what I think is going to happen. I think that it's a huge relief for us as an industry to go from an industry that was being regulated by enforcement rather than by regulation. And it's very nice to see that we're trying to build frameworks. We're trying to work together. And irrespective of either party, I really hope that continues in the future because, look, we just want to know the rules as an industry and we want to follow them. And so tell us the rules and we'll work within those frameworks. And I think that's a lot healthier of an approach than regulation via enforcement without having clear clearly defined rules and parameters for us to operate within, whether that's retail, custody, exchanges, market making. I think there needs to be established frameworks. But the real interesting thing is, how does that work internationally, right? When you think about it, like, you can establish a framework here, but this, when you think about decentralization, it makes it an interesting conversation.
Yeah. I want to go through like the different seasons that I've at least perceived, being in the space since 2017. First, Bitcoin was the constant, but then we saw, I don't know if I froze here in a very funny position. Hold on. There we go. Bitcoin was the constant, while we had like NFTs. Then I think we went through this meme coin phase. Now it felt like almost like a hyper liquid perps, phase. And now I do think what I've seen, even with like, I don't know who's following like Zcash, but this security, because my friend keeps sending it to me, and I'm like, oh shit, it's like keeps going up. I told him, anytime you see a chart that's like this, like, be somewhat careful there. But what do you think the next season's going to be about? I mean, you guys are security driven, so I'm kind of giving you a layup here of what I think is going to be really important. But do you think, I guess, do you think meme coins are going to be gone? Do you think NFTs are going to make a comeback, or do you think there's something new, in 2025 and beyond here?
I don't think meme coins are going away. I do think that there's a shelf life for some of them. But I think that the future of crypto revolves around a better user experience across the board, making things easier, making it easier for an institution to sign up for an exchange, making it easier for somebody to just put their finger in, into a wallet and be able to scan it, right? And access their digital assets. So I think that the next wave is industry maturity and a better user experience for users and interconnectivity. And then I truly do believe that we're also going to see an evolution in payments and more use of digital assets for payments, whether that's credit card related. I know Coinbase just put something out, and Gemini's got something. And then I also think that how do you say it? Like the betting markets or the poly markets,
prediction markets.
The prediction. Exactly. I don't think those are going anywhere. In fact, I think they're going to continue to expand. And I think it's been a very interesting indicator of what's likely to happen, because people are putting money behind what they believe or what they think is going to happen, and in masses. And it's been pretty spot on.
I was just heading over to Poly Market. Some of the Bitcoin related ones, let's bring one up. They say, what will the Bitcoin hit in November? 125 is the line here. What do you think? You think it'll get to 125 again in November, or you think you sounded a little bit more bearish previously?
I think it can hit 125 in November, but what is it going to hit 150 to 200 by year end? And I don't think that's going to happen. I think that there was a healthy flush out of and liquidations that we saw occur yesterday. But if I was going on that website right now and placing a bet, I believe it will. I do.
Yeah. It's interesting. We brought Adrian Morris on, who I kind of agreed with, that we're with the ETFs, with more of this institutionalization, if that's a word here, of Bitcoin. I think it is starting to stair step quite a bit more, right? We're seeing it kind of line up more with what gold's been doing. I don't know if we'll ever see kind of the 1,000% gains that people that got in at $1 would be. But I think that brings more money into the space, right? People don't want something that's extremely volatile like that. You want to have that quote digital gold where you can have, base credit off of, where you're going to, as we bring in more guys with suits, the Jodys of the world that are rocking the suits, what they're going to be caring about. So I guess like you've been in the space, from your time at Cointelegraph, where you're, selling ads basically against a lot of the altcoins that are probably coming in. some Bitcoin companies. There's a lot more Bitcoin companies forming. Jody and I's website, 21rates.com. That showcases a lot of the new products that are coming out, being able to compare and contrast and review. Where do you see this going though in the next year or two? Is it going to lean more heavy on the suits, or do you think, because one part of my brain says like the people that are in retail that are here may already be here, or do you think that there's still untapped retailers that we can get to?
I think the suits are going to start wearing t-shirts to be with the t-shirt guys, and I think the t-shirt guys are going to start wearing suits, and I think they're going to meet in the middle, right? I think that institutions are going to adopt, and those that have been in the space are going to mature, and so I see those two meeting in the middle. But I want to see if I could show you this on camera, just because I want, before we end things, I'd love to give you a visual of what
And while you do that, if anyone is listening that has questions, I think you guys can make a comment on Twitter or YouTube, and it pops up on our screen. So if you guys have questions, feel free, and we'll do some real time Q&A here. Yeah, we're seeing it's a little blurry.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. You can see the heat.
So those are my vascular patterns. You could really see it as you move along the subdermal lens. This is what is unique to each person.
That is very cool.
What our product does. And so simply, you go like this. It reads your vascular pattern, and you're able to log into your device, and then you're able to see your digital assets. And that's a sneak preview of which ones are going to be covered first.
I love it. Jody, how are we doing on the giveaway? You still need more time here? You're good to go? All right. I'll let you chime in.
We're having Cloudflare issues. So Cloudflare is having issues right now. So we'll get back to you on this. And if not, we'll run one either tomorrow. For anyone.
Flash giveaway. So
yeah, let's do a flat. We can't leave all the listeners with nothing here.
So for those listening, we will be launching our pre-sale to start selling this wallet, which should hit shelves early in January. And for friends of 21 Rates, I'm willing to give you guys a 10% discount. We'll provide the code to Avi and Jody over here, and they can post it whenever. And that's my little giveaway to the community.
Let's and we'll do a 21,000 sat giveaway as well on top of that. Why don't we, if anyone's listening, follow us. Make sure you're following both Wes, G-Not, and 21 Rates. And on I don't know why my camera keeps messing up here. But why don't we, if you comment the price you think that Bitcoin is going to hit at 1 p.m. Eastern, so in 15 minutes, whoever gets the closest, we'll hand out 21,000. Make sure you're following us, and we will DM the winner there as well. So just to kind of make this a little more engaging. This is our first time doing it, so appreciate the patience and flexibility with everyone.
I will give away a wallet to whoever can guess whoever's closest to the correct price of Bitcoin at the change of the year.
Okay. In the comments below.
Yeah. Comment what you think the price of Bitcoin will be at the end of the year, and whoever's closest will get a wallet right to your door.
Amazing.
Anywhere in the world.
Anything else, Wes, that while we got you here? I know we had a little technical difficulties. Won't blame Jody. We will blame Cloudflare 100% here. But what anything else you're excited about here for the end of the year? Anything you're watching?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm really excited about our product rollout and our product map. What can I say? Let's just say that, devices like this or our finger vein reader are just the start as it relates to finger vein technology. We have other wearables coming out, if you will. So I'm very excited about launching that. We have a token coming out, which is fundamental to our ecosystem and will give you exclusive discounts. And then from an industry perspective, I'm excited about seeing how we get from where we are to where everyone thinks we're going to be at 200,000, and what that journey is going to look like. And how will the current tokenomics, which have played out pretty impressively in the sense of a deflationary economy happening to the supplies, how that's going to play out. And my bet is it's going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to grow as an industry, and that we're going to see some exciting price action. May not be in the next 2 months, but over the course of the next year, I think that there's still plenty of room for upside. And so if we can make that as mainstream and easily accessible and safe to custody as possible, that's what gets me excited at the end of the day.
Love it.
It's exciting. You guys have, one security practice, and sorry, I've been there really is a Cloudflare issue right now, so we're debugging that. But the one feature I've heard is a good solution is, let's say, I think for you guys with the biometrics is interesting, is let's say you have 1 Bitcoin on your wallet. It's a lot to be carrying around, but you have 1 Bitcoin. And then, having some false front of another wallet where if you're distressed, I think is some options where you can do distress key on, I don't know if it's cold card or something. Then it's going to go to another wallet that has $20 on it, $50, $100. And then you could do oh, hey, if my pulse is above 140, 120, then switch to the $20 wallet versus the, 1 Bitcoin, $103,000 wallet. And then same thing, if you're trading, it's if I'm really intense, I should not be trading everything or selling or panicking. It's having requiring a lower heart rate before you can participate in any sort of big event.
We've been actively and continuously do R&D on topics such as this. I think what you're referencing is something like a duress sensor, right? Or distress sensor, where there'd be a spike in heart rate or an abnormality. Right now, we are not putting duress sensors into our devices. What we do have the ability to do is have different devices to access the same custody wallet via zero knowledge proof. So let's just say we had a watch or something like that. You'd be able to have access on it to your assets like that if you're more of a trader and walking around and something like that. But in terms of quick transitioning of cold storage assets, it's something to consider. It's definitely something to consider. Our motto and our philosophy in product development really is give our users the luxury of choice, right? So for example, you can have up to 8 fingers that could be scanned on this device, right? So if you'd like to give your wife access or a colleague access, if you want to just have all 8 of your, 8 of the 10 fingers working on here, that's fine. But the idea is to give our users the luxury of choice. So if we were to do that, and I think it's something that we've been thinking about in terms of duress sensors, I don't know about duress transfers. We would do it in a toggleable way that gives the user or the end user the luxury of choice to choose what happens in a specific situation.
You guys need the life alert. I was thinking it's help, I've fallen, I can't get up. It's help, I'm getting wrench attacked. I need to get up, get out of here. Now, Wes, this has been an absolute pleasure. Again, Wes said he will be giving away a GNut wallet. Make a comment below on this live stream. What you think
what's the timing of the price? What timestamp does it need to be?
Is
it midnight on 12/31?
Or no, yeah. What's the time?
Yes, yeah, I think it's when the clock strikes midnight, right? Whatever the price is, because that's the benchmark for the year end. So let's see.
Eastern time?
All right, so let's do this. Let's do 11:59. 1 second before midnight is when the time will be.
Eastern time?
And we'll do closest there. Eastern time?
Eastern Standard Time. Yes.
Okay. 11:59, 59, 12:31. Exactly. Yeah. And then in the short term, let's do, I think I said 1 o'clock. So we'll do 21,000 sats for the closest price by 1 o'clock Eastern today as well. So follow us, make sure to follow us. We will DM the winner. And thank you all for listening. And we'll be back tomorrow. Actually, give us a follow. We'll be doing treasury talks tomorrow. Friday, we're partnering up with cryptonews.com. We have some really exciting podcasts. I'll drop the name Grant Cardone we just interviewed. So that's going to be popping up. And we're going to be going down for a very special guest down in Florida at the Cantor Fitzgerald event too. We'll be speaking with quite a few of those speakers. So thank you all for joining, and we'll see some of you guys tomorrow. And definitely comment for the win. And Wes, thanks for coming on, man.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and keep me updated on those contests.
I will.
All right. Thank you, Wes.
Yeah.